Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. All right, so today we are talking about LLCs, specifically answering, do I need an LLC to start a business? So I want to really try to dispel some of the untruths, the half-truths that are out there that are still floating around and that are causing people a lot of drama. And yeah, it just is what it is. So let's get down to it. So let's talk about what an LLC is. What exactly does that mean? LLC stands for a limited liability company. It is not a limited liability corporation. It is a limited liability company. Okay. An LLC is a state-run entity. That means that it is recognized on the state level, not on the federal level. Does that mean that you don't have a business? No, it does not. So you'll hear the term disregarded entity. And what that means is, on the federal level, if you have a single member LLC, then you are treated as a sole proprietor. If you have a multi-member LLC, then you are treated as a partnership. You have to file a 1065. And those are due in March, by the way, if you do that. Okay. So, and then with the LLC, you can elect to be treated as an S Corp or a C Corp. And those are a whole nother broadcast to talk about that. Okay. So then we get to talk about why do we need an LLC? Okay. So let me actually kind of flip the script a little bit and talk about, all of the reasons that people come to me or I have seen and said, why we need to form an LLC. Okay. So number one is asset protection. Okay. So while an LLC does offer asset protection, if you have no assets, then what you worried about? And what do I mean? So if you are still renting, if you really don't physically own anything of value, if you are leasing a car, you don't own it. Now, let's talk about ownership. Now, if you have, let's say, a retirement account, that's an asset. Okay. So if you've got money sitting in a savings account, that's your money. That is an asset. All right. So you've got to really think about, do you have any assets that you own? All right. And when I say own outright, we ain't making no payments or anything like that. So if you are in that situation where you have assets, then you may want to consider that, but that is not the only reason. Number two, if you are trying to form an LLC because you heard it can save you on taxes, I'm going to tell you that is not exactly true. Okay. The reason is that if you have a single member LLC and you have a sole proprietorship for taxes, it's the same thing. It really is treated the same way. You file the same form. Your taxes don't look any different. So do not form an LLC just because you want to save on taxes, because on the flip side of that is that you then incur additional expenses for the annual state filings. And there are some states that charge you, a fee, right? That charge you an annual franchise tax that doesn't depend on the amount of profit you make. This is just what you owe. So this is what I'm saying is that, it's not, and I have to, and sometimes it gets so frustrating because for people to really understand that, no, this does not save on taxes. You get the same tax deductions on a single member LLC as you do as a sole proprietor. Okay. The exact same ones. All right. Number three, no, you cannot pay yourself and deduct it as an expense on your taxes. No, not for an LLC. As an LLC, as a sole proprietor, you are not an employee of your business. Period. Point blank. That's what it is. You are not an employee. So whatever money you take out as an owner's draw, that's what it's called. So that whatever you pay yourself, you still owe taxes on that money because that is considered profit. So whatever your final profit is at the end of the year, that is what you pay taxes on. The money that you pay yourself is not deducted out of your profit. This is why I tell you to save 30% of your income for taxes, because you're going to have to pay that at the end of the year. So yeah, you don't get to deduct the money that you pay yourself as an employee and not pay taxes on that money as a single member LLC. Now, if you have an S corp, then there's a whole bunch of extra that goes into that. You do pay yourself as an employee, but you also have to withhold employment tax and all of that stuff. That's a whole nother broadcast. But as a single member LLC, no, that is not a reason to form an LLC. And then let's talk about the additional costs. Like I just mentioned these things, because a lot of times people will form an LLC and incur additional expenses and not really realize what they've gotten themselves into. Because see, you go to and get Google and YouTube educated. Okay. I keep telling you all the time, that is not enough information. You can go to different websites and form your LLC. Are they going to tell you that it's the right thing for you to do? No. Are they going to give you all the information that you need? No, not necessarily. Why? Because they assume because you're coming to their site to form this LLC that you already know what you need to know. And so if you haven't done your homework and you create a bill that you weren't expecting to have, oops. That's all it is oops. So now, are there certain instances that I would say, yes, you need to form an LLC? Absolutely. So I look at the industry and I think about, the amount of liability, the exposure for yourself and your business. So if you're dealing in a service industry that can cause illness or injury to other people, I would tell you, yes, you need to form an LLC, because when you think about food service people, the beauty industry, transportation industry, property management. These are the types of industries that, there can be huge amounts of money involved. If you have, in the hair industry, you go, try to relax somebody's hair and then they get burned and then they want to sue you for, everything that you got. Or you might give somebody a bad haircut and they think that they should be able to sue you for millions of dollars for about 2 or 3 weeks worth of a bad haircut. Okay. If you look at, like the skincare industry, you might have the best skincare out there. But if that one person gets a rash or something like that, then that opens you up to liability. Even dealing with like property management or something like that, if you rent out property and somebody goes and slips and falls and, it can be nothing that you did intentionally. It just whatever because you have money, then they want to sue you. Okay. And even in network marketing. Now, I want my network marketers to listen to me clearly. Okay. When you are first getting started in your network marketing business, you probably don't need an LLC. However, if your team grows and you're starting to get up there in the income, then you may want to consider an LLC. And the reason is, and this came from an attorney, he was saying that, the trend now is not to try to sue the company if you feel that you have been wronged, but to sue everybody in your upline. Okay. Anybody that benefited from you financially, if someone feels like they've been done wrong. So in that case, I would say, yeah, you probably want to have an LLC, because if you got a team that's 55 levels deep and somebody does something crazy, you definitely want to, you definitely want to protect yourself. Because if you're making gobs of money, then you probably have more assets that you want to protect. So there you go. All right. But the thing about it is that 9 times out of 10, right out the gate, you don't need one. All right. Don't go. This is why I tell you to get some consultation, talk to a tax person, talk to a business attorney to find out what structure is going to be best for you. It pains me. It really does pain me when people come to me and say, oh my gosh, I have this bill now that I don't have money to pay. Well, your state really doesn't care. They don't. You have this business structure in their state. This is what is required. And every single state is different, right? There are some states that are more expensive than others to have an LLC. So that's just what it is. You have to know what your state requirements are. And if you don't know that and you get burned, again, if you've had no consultation, then that falls squarely on your shoulders. Period. So, if you're thinking about starting a business, or if you've got questions as to whether or not you should have this LLC, invest in the consultation with people, with experts whose job it is to know these things. And listen, legal concerns and tax concerns are two different things, because you might have a concern that, that's more legal than tax related. So this is why you need both. You can't necessarily get all the information from just one person, because the legal person is going to tell you this, the tax person is going to tell you that. You have to then make the decision as to what's more important to you and then operate from that standpoint. But just getting started, if you're still working out the kinks and you're not really dealing with a business that can cause injury or illness to other people, you probably don't. If you're just, driving for Uber and Lyft, you probably don't need an LLC. If you are if you're like a traveling nurse or something like that, you probably don't need an LLC. Now, in your business, do you need to make sure that you have certain insurance protections? Absolutely. Now, I keep also hearing about, okay, well, I want to get capital. I want to build business credit. Okay, great. But those things aren't going to happen just because you have an LLC. There's different things that need to happen there. If you think you're going to go get some investors and all of that stuff, that's not going to happen right away. You're still going to have to show a track record of profitability and all of that. Please do not think that you're going to open a business and then you're going to turn into Facebook. It doesn't work that way. It didn't happen overnight. So, the main thing that takes people out of business is money, the lack of money. And if you are not a good steward of your money, then you are going to go out of business faster than you got in it. And, having the wrong business structure will cost you more money than anything. Ignorance costs you. Invest in consultations with people. That's what they're for, to help you make informed decisions about what you do next. So just because you heard you need to go open an LLC for your high school student and file some taxes, please do not sit there and take your business. Don't get your business information from a meme on Facebook. Do not do that. When you hear these things, take them back to the professionals and get the consultation. That's all I'm telling you. Just because it sounds good doesn't mean that it is good. Okay. Ray down the street don't necessarily know what he's talking about. Okay. So I will not belabor this point, but no, there are a lot of times when you don't need an LLC to get started in business. There are times when you absolutely should. And that is what consultations are for, to help you know the difference. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning into Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish, and you can come right here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right. Have a great day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.